When it comes to the smaller, more transactional business, which is the division of GenCap that you really lead, technology is very important part. Speed to market is very important. Having efficient workflows is very important. Being the first one to get your quote out, the fastest one to get your binder. It's really the segment of business that we have the biggest opportunity to lean into some of the technological advancements that we're seeing, some of the AI-driven platforms, and really just being able to collect more meaningful data to make us that much better at our job. So in your position, I know that you're always looking, around at what some of the slickest technology is, not necessarily that GenCap is doing today, but that you see carriers using, or you see businesses completely outside of the insurance industry using. What are some of the technologies that you've seen recently that have really impressed you? And what is it that they're solving that we could potentially bring that into our business?
Yeah, you can go in a million different directions with that, right? And it's funny, AI is definitely here to stay. It is nascent, and the demos that I've seen, both based off of my data as well as others, what they can do and how quickly they can enact things, is really going to reshape our world, whether you're talking about the insurance industry or otherwise. I think one of their struggles is going to be focus. I think if you know how to leverage AI, then you need to have a focus. What are you going to focus on? Because you can go in so many different directions. We're just beginning to see what it can really do and how we can implement it in various facets, whether that's in policy issuance, whether it's in underwriting guidelines, whether it's in HR, finance, whatever the case might be. It can impact just about anything we do and everything we do. And that's really beginning to get off the ground. It's very exciting stuff. Some of the things previously that we've seen happen and seen implemented, whether it's ourselves, carriers, colleagues, competitors, one that comes to mind is in speaking with a colleague, one of our carrier partners. They were really asking about how do they become the best at what they were doing, and they were in the small business arena. And I said, okay, well, in a lot of cases, you're taking 30 days to issue a policy. And the response was, okay, well, what is the best today? And the answer was, and this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, was instantaneous, right? And in the past, we would often see people say, well, we're going to work on that. And, maybe years down the road, you would see a change and a gradual change over time. To their credit, they went from a 20 to 30 days-ish time frame to almost instantaneously within about 9 months. So the impact of emerging technologies is very noticeable. And, we've been able to take advantage of some. We've used RPAs, or robotic process automation, where you're, really taking advantage of repetitive tasks and making sure that those are done like clockwork. And ultimately, you're able to free your people up to use their brains more, less data entry, less busy work, so that they can bring more value to the table, so they have more rewarding days, rewarding careers. It's more interesting to them. The resultant effect on our clients are that they see if you keep it simple with policy docs, they're seeing their policy docs extremely consistently, extremely fast. And that kind of noise disappears out of your day and your workflow. So ultimately you end up with a better product, a better service, and you get more traction because they know they can rely on you. And in small business, that's king, right? Table stakes is you get your quote out, A-rated carrier with the appropriate terms and coverages, and you're competitive in a reasonable amount of time. That's table stakes. But where you can really gain traction is if everything else is very, very smooth.
And you're using your human capital where it's needed versus the places that's just rinse, repeat. You can put on autopilot and then your underwriters get to just underwrite, or do the things that they do best that really requires that specialization.